What is up, my beautiful people? Today, I want to talk to you about something that is super important, and that is what I call the regulator, which is the thing that's in your mind that sabotages your success. If you've ever felt like there's maybe more that you should be experiencing with your life, that there's more possible for you, but you haven't been able to tap into that zone of genius internally, then this video is for you. And it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur that's on the cutting edge of business, if you're an executive, or if you're somebody who's just like a student and trying to figure out their life. I think this video is really gonna help you understand the psychology of the reasoning behind why we sabotage ourselves and actually underperform. So that's where I wanna start, is with you and where you are right now in your life. I think if you look around, things might be completely fine, or you might look in the mirror and say, hey, I am not where I want to be. And that's a very personal moment. That's a very sensitive moment, but it's also a very important moment, because very often we will have that moment and say, hey, I'm not where I want to be. I need to really change something. And yet we walk away, nothing actually happens. So I want to help you transition those key pivotal moments in your life into action. But first, before we do that, let's try to understand why that happens in the first place. See, when you are a young kid and you're innovating and you're playing with Legos, right? You're building these things, you're imagining, and you imagine and you imagine and you imagine all the way through to school, right? And you get into school and your imagination starts to be constricted by the social structure. What's happening is they're saying, instead of drawing whatever you want, now you have to draw a horse, now you have to draw something specific, and you have to draw it a certain way. And you start to normalize society. The very process of education as it currently stands starts with normalization, right? You have normalization, then you have generalization, then you have specialization. That is the way that our educational system is structured. We want to create an average group. Then from that average group, we want to allow for people to outperform that average group, and then incentivize and reward those people that have outperformed in specific verticals that are capitalistically motivational and capitalistically reinforced. So with that in mind, it is no wonder that people are so used to saying, hey, here are my answers to the test, tell me how I did. They are so used to getting validation and feedback from their action. Now, what happens for most people is when they finish school, they are lost, because the real world works in the opposite way. In the real world, you go, you fill out your test, and the universe throws it back at you and goes, not only is that not good enough, I actually don't care about that at all. And so a lot of people come out of that experience very confused, very frustrated, feeling underserved by the local school system and by the general school system as a whole, because it does not prepare you for life. One of two things happens. The first is that people go and they attack and they attack, and then they get demotivated, they give up, they settle. And that settling period can be anywhere from a couple days, a couple weeks, a couple months, to a couple years, to decades for some people. Some people will settle for a job and stay there for 20, 30, 40 years, while deep down there's a burning passion and burning desire to do something else, but they can't bring themselves to have the courage and fortitude to take action on it. And again, those moments in the mirror that we're gonna be talking about. And the second thing that happens is a much more rare case, but somebody says, hey, you know what? F this, I don't care. I'm gonna push through, I'm gonna do something great. This is every surfer and skateboarder and entrepreneur and startup founder that exists. They go against the grain and they push through that adversity of the market telling them what they have isn't good enough, which, by the way, in turn reflects on you not being good enough, because what you created isn't good enough. Well, how are you good enough? And being able to push through that and redefine that in order to push through these barriers. So the way I think of growth in general for you as a human being, think of it this way. There's a valley, and we all start in the valley. We're little babies, we're playing in the valley, things are safe. What happens in a valley? When you look around, you see mountain ranges. A mountain here, mountain there, mountain here. And it doesn't take too long before you understand what is in that first valley. That is typically adolescence, right? Understanding how your household is structured, understanding things that your parents taught you. And a lot of people will realize, hey, there's got to be something on the other side of these mountains here. And the way that your family responds to that is also indicative of your reward structure. Sometimes families will say, hey, go climb that mountain, go persevere, I believe in you. And sometimes they'll say, hey, it's too scary out there, play it safe, right? So that is definitive of your end outcome and the way that you've been programmed, and something for you to keep an eye on as we're going through this video and this training here. Your ability to take that first step and say, I'm in the valley, I want to climb the mountain, is the very first step of acknowledgement to yourself that I am willing to prioritize the journey and the experience and the exploration and the innovation and the discovery process over safety. And at its core, that fundamental belief makes the difference between somebody being extremely successful or somebody stopping halfway and settling. Now, I'm sure as I'm talking, you are coming up with ideas and memories and instances of this in your own life, maybe even currently, that you are reprogramming yourself into a state of safety rather than a state of action, because we've been programmed that way. Action is risky. Action has consequences. We've been told that again and again, right? Put your hand on the stove, get burnt. But what if you put your hand on the stove and money came out? Well, that would be a whole different scenario. The problem is 1 out of every 10,000 times you put your hand on a stove, money comes out. The other 9,999 times you get burnt. And so it's no wonder that people are trained biologically to not take a risk, to be safe, to downplay their actual capabilities as human beings instead of going above and beyond and pushing the envelope. Again, I told you, we're gonna start this video with those moments that you have in the mirror when you're looking at yourself saying, okay, I am not where I want to be. Now, the first thing for you to do when you have that moment is to stop. I want you to sit in that moment. It's a very important moment for you. That is one of those moments where you are truly, genuinely honest with yourself because you are identifying with yourself on a very accurate level. So it's important for you to pause and really capture that moment instead of pushing it away, instead of stuffing it with a distraction activity. You need to capture that moment. You need to ask yourself why. Why am I feeling inadequate? There's a couple of components here. The first is the self-judgment relative to what you thought you were capable of. And this is the biggest one. Oh, I thought I could make a better song or build a better company than this. Or I thought that I had more potential. That's typically a pretty healthy way of looking at it. You're comparing yourself against yourself, but there's other avenues that are maybe less healthy. One of those is comparing yourself to others, right? Oh, but my brother or but my friend did this and I didn't. So I missed out and I messed up and I'm not where they want to be. And that's a key differentiator. I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where they want to be. And yet here's the thing for you to understand in this. Go right now, while you're watching this video, try and be somewhere else. Go, lock in, really try, really get into it. Somewhere else. Did you do it? Were you somewhere else? No. You can only be exactly where you are. Where you are is where you are for a reason. And the biggest mistake I see people make when it comes to happiness and fulfillment and joy is trying to be somewhere they are not, or even worse, trying to be someone who they are not. So the first step is accept who you are. Accept those things that you feel you under-delivered on. Maybe you're a little bit out of shape. Maybe you let your body get out of shape. Maybe you're not where you want to be financially. Maybe you're not doing something that excites you every day. Start to define it. Take out a piece of paper and write down where you are not happy with yourself. I think a lot of people will say, oh, you should be happy with yourself no matter what, and you should just experience joy because you are where you need to be. That's not the angle I'm going for here at all. I think your feedback is accurate. I think if you feel that you've underserved yourself in a particular vertical, I think you need to be honest with yourself about that. And I think you need to come face to face with that head on so that you can actually create an action plan to change those things. And then here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna come up with one category. So if you let your body get a little bit out of shape, you don't like the way you look, that is your category, fitness and health. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna come up with one action item that you can do to improve your situation. And you are going to hold yourself to that religiously. That might be something as small as, hey, I'm gonna go to the gym once a week. Once a week. If maybe you're a beginner, you've never taken the time to really prioritize the gym and prioritize your physical health, once a week. I'm gonna go to the gym, but I'm gonna do it every week for the whole year. That's 52 times you will have gone to the gym that year. And here's what you're gonna notice. You're gonna go to the gym once and you're gonna be intimidated and you're gonna be scared and you're not gonna know what all these machines are, but you will have done it. And the second day that you're supposed to go, you're gonna feel that punch in your gut, knowing that the older version of you would have chickened out. The older version of you would have went and played video games, had a hamburger, whatever the case. And you're going to decide in that moment who you become. Either you go and you show up a second day and a third day and a fourth day or a fifth day, or are you that old version? As you're going through that process, whether that's a physical thing, a financial thing, a relationship thing, an achievement thing, you're gonna notice something really intense happen. You're gonna notice pain. You're gonna notice a physical sense of separation in your body, and it's gonna feel really uncomfortable. Because what's happening is the old paradigms, the old systems that you've been programmed to have are actually falling apart. They're actually starting to fail. This idea of play it safe instead of play it cool, play it big, play it smart, play it wild, right? That concept is gonna start fragmenting. That old identity of you that wants to eat a burger and stay in bed and be lazy and play video games, it's gonna start to die off. And that's an important moment to catch. It's important to give love to yourself and appreciation to that version of yourself because it was trying to protect you the whole time. You have to say, hey, thank you, but we're gonna let you go. You have to be able to fire parts of your own psychology that are no longer serving you. And as soon as you do that, you will realize something magical start to happen, is that you are able to do self-mastery on your own self. It's almost like doing surgery on yourself psychologically in order to fine-tune your own brain and your own mindset to be able to get you the optimal result. And what you find is by the 9th, 10th week, you're excited to go 2-3 times a week. And you know what's gonna happen then? You're gonna look in the mirror and that feeling of sadness and disgust will have transformed. You will realize, you know what? I might not be in the shape I want to be in yet, but I am on my way. What does that mean? Instead of thinking, I'm not where I want to be somewhere else, I don't want to be in my body, you're approaching this completely different. You're saying, I am where I am. I'm excited where I'm going and I'm excited to get there. And this has been the number one thing. I talked about the regulator, this ability to remove that regulator from your own psychology and say, you know what? I might be scared. I might be uncertain. I might be afraid. I might have all sorts of doubts, but I'm gonna do it anyway because every top performer experiences fear. Every human experiences fear at some level. It's what you do with it that counts. It's being able to show up there for yourself. And every successful person has gone through this process not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. They have gone through this process to be able to say, you know what, I think I can do better. And it's not a low vibrational thing. It's not a self-attack thing. It's not a self-judgment thing. It's simply a core inherent belief that we can accomplish more than we have accomplished so far. And very often the number one thing that prevents us from doing that, it's not the government, it's not our parents, it's not our boss, it's not our society, it's us. It's us. And we know that, and we have crystal clarity on that when we look at ourselves in the mirror and go, I have not gotten my body to where I want it to be. And you know what? As someone who should be competent, should be driven, should be ambitious, should be capable, that is kind of a sad situation. And what you do in that moment, when you capture it and actually do something about it, is what's going to define your life. I just wanted to share this with you because I find that those little moments, it's so easy to let them slip away. You will walk past and you will go, that's the moment to catch. That's the moment when you are truly, genuinely true with yourself, when you're not stuffing, when you're not distracting, when you're not making up an excuse or justifying in any way. You're just honest with yourself about where you are. That is the moment to catch, because that version of yourself is trying to guide you. It's trying to put you on the right path so that later on you can look at yourself in the mirror and go, man, I'm in the best shape of my life. I have more money than I know what to do with. I love my relationships. I love my life. I live a great adventure every single day. I'm excited to wake up in the morning and pursue the day because life is a great adventure worth living, and I'm gonna look back at it at my last day on this planet and I'm gonna celebrate. I am gonna have zero regrets. I'm gonna celebrate. I'm gonna live my biggest, best life. But to do that, it requires that courage and that ability for you to capture those moments, figure out a solution, make that solution actionable, take action on it, and hold yourself consistently to that action until you get the end result that you want. And that's what I want to see for you. I want to see you absolutely crush it. So this is just as much of a mindset video as it is a motivational video. My belief is you could genuinely accomplish more or less anything you put your mind to, but you have to, again, put your mind to it. You have to apply your mind to be able to resolve your situation. And that is the key. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you enjoyed it, let me know, where's an area where you have held yourself back subconsciously. It's never a conscious thing. It's always a subconscious thing. Where is an area for you? Maybe it's earning potential. Maybe it's achievement. Maybe it's happiness. Maybe it's relationship. Maybe you've prevented yourself going into a relationship because you don't feel worthy. Maybe you were scared to ask for your true earning potential from your employer, or starting your own business because you've been taught that it's too risky. Maybe you never took the time to go to the gym because nobody taught you that you should in order to take care of your body. Nobody showed you workouts. All of these things are completely fine. We are on the human journey together. And my goal here is to help you build a great life and build a great business. And that's why we're here. So hopefully you found this useful. We got a happy face hoodie on today, and comment down below. What is an area where you have held yourself back, and what are you going to do about it on a consistent basis? I love you guys. Mikhail, I'm out. I will see you in the next video. GG.